Hello and welcome to a slightly different podcast this week. My name is James and today I am pleased to be joined by the Bristol United first team manager, John Gilborson. John, how are you, mate?
I'm not too bad, thank you, James. And yourself?
Very well, thank you. Thanks for asking. Now, when I do the Bitten Football Club podcast, we always start by doing a mental health and well-being check. And I always ask, because I know people like this on the podcast, I always ask my guests how they are on a scale of 1 to 10. So on a scale of 1 to 10, how are you?
I'd say a good strong 8 at this
8?
precise time.
That's
Yeah,
good.
in a good place.
That's good. That's always nice to hear that you're in a good place. And I'm probably about an 8. I was a bit down earlier on in the week, but with the weekend approaching and football on the horizon, that always helps. And
Absolutely.
we've got England tomorrow night first, haven't we? So that should be
Yeah,
interesting tomorrow night.
yeah. A nice Friday night game to watch before the weekend starts.
That's it, mate. Can't beat it, can you? Can't beat it.
No.
So obviously, as I said on the intro, you're the first team manager for Bristol United. Um,
Yes.
Can you give us a bit of an overview of the club and where you are and how the season so far is going?
Yeah, so we're a new club. It's a new last season. So this is our second, going into our second season as a club. So it's a brand new club from sort of that aspect. And yeah, it's a family club. It's three of us. I'm the first team manager myself, but
Yeah.
I co-own the club with two other people, with Sam Morgan and Ashley Tamlin. So the three of us owns the club, and we do everything sort of the operational running of the club between us. And Ash, is the assistant manager as well, so he's involved on match days. Sam Morgan, who's the 1/3 owner, he's still playing. So we're involved in sort of all aspects from the sort of operational point of the club, but also on game days we're all involved through sort of managing, assistant manager, and current players. So yes, it's been a great sort of 18 months for us since we first started the club. A lot of young players, which we've sort of taken on and sort of molded and still coaching and still developing. And last season was a good season. We missed out narrowly in our first season of getting promotion by a point.
Yeah.
And sort of big things expected of us this year, like from within the club. And it started off okay at the moment. We've played 4, which we've won 1, drew 1, and lost 2. So not the start being honest, not the start we'd hoped for,
No.
but are very sort of early days in games in hand at the moment. So we've had a bit of bad luck in terms of long-term injuries, losing players and stuff like that. Which they're sort of gradually coming back to fitness now. So we're hoping that we start to push on now as the sort of season cracks on with getting players back and start getting better results to take us up to where we want to be, really.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen, obviously, your social media um, prod, produce, I don't know if that's the right word, is quite substantial, isn't it? I mean, you're on YouTube quite a lot, which I've watched most of the games. Actually, I think I've watched them all so far on YouTube,
Yeah,
which obviously isn't the same as being there. I appreciate that, but needs must, and it always makes for a good Monday night viewing. It's sort of like my Monday night football without Jamie Carragher and Gary Neville. But no, it's good, and um, like you said, you played 4 games in the league so far. I believe currently 13th in the league.
yes.
You play in the Bristol and District Division 4, if I'm not mistaken.
We do, yes. As a new club, obviously we had to start sort of on our league application. Um, it started at the bottom. It was Division 5 last year, but they condensed it and made bigger divisions this year. So we're up in sort of Division 4. But yeah, sort of starting at the bottom and hoping to work our way up
Progress, but even though
over
he
the
says
years.
even though he says the bottom, I mean, looking at the table, it's obviously it's still a very competitive league, isn't it?
Yeah, oh, it is. It absolutely is. And I think what sort of surprised me coming sort of into that league last year, you would just naturally assume Division 4 or Division 5 as it was last year was
Yeah,
probably the bottom league in terms of standards as well. But what you quickly sort of suss out, there's a lot of new clubs every year. Some clubs are brand new clubs like ourselves. Some clubs are being relocated from other leagues, and it ain't necessarily a sort of true reflection of that's the bottom, say 20 clubs in the Bristol and district, because it's not, because they're there for a reason, because they're starting afresh. And a few clubs last year, they sort of absolutely sort of probably should be playing 2 or 3 divisions higher than they actually are, but you're put there, and that's where you have to start. So
Yeah, no, 100%. Yeah,
I think you look at some of the sides in Division 4, and you think perhaps really, if you were sort of putting the attributes over the 4 divisions, you'd probably bump 2 or 3 clubs up a division or 2, because that would be more their skill set, more their level. But so Division 4, I think Division 3 and Division 2, 1 is probably a truer reflection of the ability of the teams, but Division 4 isn't always necessarily like that.
no, and like you said, you got to go where you're put, haven't you? But I mean,
Yeah,
like I said, I
yeah,
watched the game last weekend. You played Hengrove 88 and
yes,
3-3 draw. I watched
yes,
the game the other night, and I mean, just by watching the first half, I think you're 2-1 up at half time. The goals that you scored, that your team scored, 2 of them were absolute quality strikes. And
yes.
I actually tweeted that the free kick. I mean, it was worthy of a much higher level than where you are, and that's not meant disrespectfully. It was a hell of a free kick.
Yes. Well, we got a few sort of stars in players, and a team like a sort of as, with a young team, you're going to get this sometime. But like it was Tom Blake who scored the
Yeah,
free kick and scored actually 2 goals that game, and had a cracking sort of first 60 minutes.
mm.
But we got probably 3 or 4 players which were probably a little bit fortunate to have, because they should be playing at a higher standard. And as a team, sometimes, because it's such a young team, our average age is probably around about 20, 21, 22. At times you'll see us, and sometimes like in the either as pre-season or in the leagues, when it clicks for us being a young team, we're superb. And really sort of go motoring. And Saturday was a fine example of that. The first half we played very well,
Yeah,
not at our best, but played very well. And then second half, not so much so. It's the sort of Jekyll and Hyde performance. What you've got to expect sometimes with such a young team learning to play together and learning their sort of trade as footballers. Like you do get situations sometimes. It's not always so straightforward, but
no, and like
we
you
got
said, I
some
mean,
really good players.
there's no such thing as losing at that age. It is all learning, isn't it? You know, I put on Twitter the other night about Bitton when they played the other night. I said you enjoy the wins, but you learn from the losses, don't you? And I think that's the most important thing.
It is absolutely, and I'm a big believer in that. In our pre-season game, I mean, I know most clubs probably play somewhere between 4 and 6 pre-season games, and I think we've approached the last 2 seasons with 16 pre-season games. We've got a big squad, and like this year, we were in the Fries Cup, the Philwood Cup tournament,
Yeah,
where we're playing sides we shouldn't even be on the same pitch as in terms of league standings, and but I'm a big believer. There's, as long as you're of a positive mindset, you're going to learn. You're only going to learn by playing better players and better teams. And I mean, we had a really good cup run and made it to the semi-finals of the Fries Cup,
yeah.
which nobody gave us a chance to sort of reach that stage. But yeah, there's incredible learnings to be had by playing players and teams what's better than you. You don't learn much by winning 10-0 playing a poor standing team.
No, I
There's
agree.
not much learnings there, and
No.
with my team how young they are, it's about the bigger picture over the next 1, 2, 3 years, really.
Yeah, and it does. I mean, it does seem to me, and like I said, in all honesty, as you know, I've only watched games on YouTube. I'm coming to
Yeah,
watch the game on Saturday, which I'm really looking forward to, and meeting you. I'm looking forward to everything on Saturday. But it does seem, from everything I've seen on YouTube with the videos you do, and the silly videos you do with like the dizzy penalties and um, all the other challenges you've done. Like you've done a few pre-season ones, which were a bit, they were silly, but they were good, and it seems like you've got a good team spirit, which again is crucial, isn't it?
absolutely, and it's something I've said to my lads sort of right at the beginning, before we even actually played our first game. And good players will win games. but to win titles, to win cups, it's not so much about the great players, it's about a great team and a great team spirit. And the squad depth of 20, 22, 23 players, like a team don't win you the league, a squad will.
Yeah.
And we've put a lot of emphasis and focus on that. We have socials sort of every 6 weeks, whether it's a cards night, a Skittles night, a quiz, going out for a meal, go downtown, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
We keep the players close and there's a genuine bond you can see running right throughout our club. And it doesn't happen easily, but you have to keep working at that to create that togetherness and one team. And it's certainly a huge focus of ours. And you can see it, it's sort of, especially last season, that really paid off for us when there's not as good a side last year as we are this year, but we were getting results going on 7-8 games, sort of win streaks. And what got us through that is that togetherness and that sort of team unity.
Yeah, no, definitely. And like I said, it massively does come across well on the videos that you put up on YouTube. So, I suppose it's a job well done, isn't it?
It is, and I mean, make no bones, this is not all sort of just strategy of we'll do this for that. It's a good laugh doing it as well as us free club owners and sort of management. But we're all players, like whether I'm an ex-player now, but you enjoy that bond and that sort of togetherness, what you get, and we have a good laugh doing it. It's not always about just done for a YouTube video or for this social media channel. We enjoy doing it, whether it's
you genuinely enjoy doing it, don't you? Yeah.
Yeah, so it's it's better sitting at home watching EastEnders.
Well, I used to love EastEnders, but not anymore.
No.
Oh, you just mentioned as well that you're an ex-player. Just for the listeners on this podcast, can you just give us a bit of background for yourself when you're like playing?
So I've played. I mean, I'm 48 now, so I played a long time at different levels for different teams. And I sort of retired from football probably around about sort of 28 to 30. I had a sort of I'm blind in one eye and sort of told any bangs to the head, like I could lose the sight, and I was getting I got hit in the temple and knocked out with a football in a game, and in every game I was playing I was ending up with sort of like after effects of a concussion, and I just decided to sort of walk away and just call it a day, basically. So I retired round about 30, which is like a sort of bit earlier. Still played football, but retired from like proper football. And then when I sort of reached 42, I got 4 sons, my boys, and they was all playing for a team. And I think they were being kind, but they said, Dad, when you come along training, you're good enough to get into our side. And I was thinking there's sort of nice kind words from your sons, but I did go to training one week, and I've suffered a quite sort of bad injuries. I've had a couple of operations on my right knee, and playing 5-a-side at 40, I went into a challenge and fractured my kneecap, snapped my ligament, and done cartilage damage on my good knee. So that was just 5-a-side at 40, but then 42, I ended up going back training for one session with my boys.
Yeah.
And lo and behold, after all of that, I ended up signing on and coming out of retirement at 42 and played a couple of seasons for a side which was called Cross Court. And there was a poor side. But what I liked about it, one, I didn't think I really missed football, but I did.
Yeah.
So being a sort of fat old man at the time of 42 coming out of retirement wasn't wise, but I enjoyed it and I had a couple of years playing. And that's how really Bristol United started, because the last season there, I knew then that it's sort of 44, it was just too old. You can't be playing football with at that age, really. So they asked me to stay on as manager, and it was a funnily run club, and it was all over the place. But that club ended up folding that season, and like I said, even though it was we were bottom of the league, getting beat each week, the players, you become mates with them, and when it all ended, I thought, well, that's finally it. That's me done for football. And then we had a conversation with myself and Ash, and out of the sort of ashes of the old football team came we said, should we do it ourselves? And Bristol United was born.
Oh, fair play.
So it started just over a conversation with my boys saying, come along to training, me thinking, yeah, I'll go along, and the sort of rest is history. And now we're with Bristol United, and a new sort of, some existing players from that old team, but new sets of players, new sort of individuals as well have joined us. And yeah, and it's that's how it's just no great plan. That's how it's unfolded, and here we are.
So you haven't been tempted to put your boots on for Bristol United, then? No?
Well, I have played a couple of games,
Oh, have you?
and I decided in a pre-season game, I'm sort of 48 now, and I thought I'll have one final game in our sort of set. I think it was our first or second pre-season friendly, and all four of my sons played for the side as well. So that was a nice moment for me to actually go out, and probably, I should imagine it hasn't been done many times in history, for a father to be on the football pitch playing with four sons in the same side, so
No,
five of
definitely
us.
not. No.
That was a nice honour for me, and I had it in mind this was going to be my retirement game.
Yeah.
And it was great because we won the game. I think we won 8 or 9-0, and I managed to score on my finale, on my final game, and just concentrate on management now. But I am registered as a player in case it's an emergency. But I took a few free kicks at training the other night, and I can't walk since. So I think my playing days is they're done.
It sounds like it might be best to leave it there, mate. Don't you know what I mean? But
well, I still tell all the players I'm the best, and I'll show them how to do it. But when they say go on, then that's when I struggle.
Yeah, just try and call their bluff, isn't it? You know. But
yeah, absolutely.
No, that's good, mate. That's good, and it's good that it's never good when a club falls like the previous team did, but at least something good's come out of it. So yeah, it's always nice to see progress being made at football clubs in the local area, which you definitely are doing that. And just so people know, you play at Imperial Sports Ground.
We do, yeah.
And
West Town Lane, yeah.
West Town Lane, yeah. And your home games are always you always play on a Saturday afternoon, don't you? 2:00 kickoff.
That's correct.
Whether you're home or away, is always a 2:00 kickoff in that league.
Yes, yeah.
You have, like I said, you've got social media channels which you promote all the time as well, which obviously every club does it now. There's nothing wrong with it whatsoever. Your YouTube video, if people searching YouTube, they search Bristol United, I think you're the first ones that come up, and they can subscribe to all your channels. Obviously, you've got a Twitter account. I don't know if you've got Facebook, Instagram. Have you got all that?
Yeah, we got everything, and it's well, it's something, like I said, we're sort of two parts to the club, really. We're the football club and the football team. But between sort of myself, Sam, and Ash, we got the business side of the club as well. What we do want to grow and we're very ambitious, but we do want to grow over the next sort of 5-10 years, and quickly identifying this day and age marketing, it is through social media, and obviously
massive,
there's
isn't it? It is massive.
Money to be earned on YouTube and all the others like Facebook, TikTok, and Twitter and Instagram and all of those. And so we've looked at it as a different entity, and what can we do to market the club, and we've done, like I said, podcasts of our own, video podcasts, and like I said, the 20 questions. There's I sort of interview myself in the car each week, which seems to be popular. People want to sort of listen to what I'm saying, sort of build up to a game, post game.
Yeah, I mean, I watch them. I watch the ones you do before, and I watch them after. But I usually watch them after I've watched the game, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So which is kind of pointless, I suppose. But I enjoy them. And I think it's good for people to sort of see the sort of like the emotions in the thought process that you go through as a manager, rather than just seeing you stood on the side of a pitch. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, because it is all encompassing being a manager. Like, you're passionate about it, and everything you're doing, you're sort of building it up towards the week. We know we're Bristol United in Division 4, but at the same time, there isn't a lot of difference in your thought processes. a Liverpool or a Man United in the Premier League. We know we're not saying we're them, but I want to win just as much as Jurgen Klopp
Yeah, of
wants to
course you
win.
do. Yeah.
And that's not just me, that's every club, isn't it? Like
Yeah.
whether you're a player or a manager, you see us all on the sidelines, the managers, sometimes shouting like idiots, sometimes getting in a heated debate, but it's passion. As
Yeah.
soon as the game's ended, we're all shaking hands and having a sort of cup of tea in the bar afterwards.
That's
But
right,
it's,
mate. I think if you haven't got that passion, then it's not, I wouldn't say pointless is the right word, but without the passion, you haven't got the hunger to succeed, have you?
that's no, absolutely. And I think it's a big part of any sport or any competition. And it's, we got that as owners as well from, like I said, the other side of the part of the club of growing it. We want to we got big plans of purchasing a ground at some point and getting our own ground and sort of having the business side of the club. So we're really, really ambitious. And like this year is a team only sort of coming into their second year, like purchasing the video cameras and showing all our games. I think that sort of shows the level of ambition we've got to sort of progress this club go
So,
over the years.
what's your ambition for this season?
This season is promotion.
Yeah.
I think it's a big ask. It's definitely a big ask because of where we've come from and the age of the players. But I see my players. Been involved in football for most of my life. I know football. And when I look at my team and I know what they're capable of, promotion is absolutely right. That should be the ambition this year. You also have to be realistic, and it's not like it's this season or bust. If it's not this season, it'll be next season, and it's going to happen because you can see the quality of some of these young lads, and then the progression from now, the 18 months ago to now, is huge. And they're going to get there if they keep doing the right things, if they keep listening, practicing, and staying together.
Yeah.
Hopefully, it'll be this season, and that's the target. But if it's not, we'll take on all the positive and learn from the negatives and go for it next year. But
Yeah, fair play. I mean, looking at your league, I mean, I got the league in front of me here. You got Wick Saturday, our top 15 points. Then you got Partnell, Hengrove 88, Bristol Boys, Shaftesbury, Crusade, Brislington Reserves, Made Forever Reserves, Hallam Athletic, AFC Mangotsfield, Real, St George Reserves, Redfield Rovers. I don't know why I'm going through all of them, but I am now. Greyfriars Athletics, Lion Reserves, and FC United 88 Reserves. So you've got some decent teams in there, haven't you? I mean, they
absolutely,
they probably all have the same ambition, but
yeah.
I think it's only right that you share that ambition with them as well.
Well, it is, and I think with what we have, and I think always gives us a chance in football. You need 11 players, you need the entire squad.
Mm.
But last year we had the league's top scorer, or the joint top scorer, in Josh.
Yeah.
And I thought he had a bit of an average season, so I know that he's capable of getting 30 plus goals a year. So if you've got a goal scorer, it gives you a chance.
It always helps,
But
mate, doesn't it?
what we also got, and you've seen like from the videos, we got Tom Blake, and Tom's a little bit in Josh's shadows sometimes. And Tom Blake himself is a 15 to 20 goal a year striker.
Yeah.
And then we've discovered a new one now with George being up front, George PC, who scored 8 in 4 games. So that gives us, when you can score goals, you always got a chance.
100%.
And what we have got a top goalie in Reece Tamlin. And it amazes me sometimes with some of the saves he makes, and we get a lot of comments. Should be playing at a higher level. We got good players. We got, like I said, Sam Morgan, who plays, like, Sam's 32, 33 now, but he's the experienced head in our side. We got Callum, who's our captain at 22. It's turning into all of a sudden he's a new level this year. So when you see things like that, and there's other players, I'm not going to mention every little single player, but when you can score goals, when you've got a bit of experience, when you can be under the cosh, or got a goalie who can make world-class saves, you're going to have a chance of...
It's a good combination, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, so it's... that's why I'm sort of confident of this year, and if it's not this year, it'll be next year, because players are developing, certainly at a good rate.
Yeah, no, I like that a lot. I like that. Just one last thing on your league, or two things actually. Is it one up? Is it one goes up?
Two
Two
goes
goes
up.
up. Right, okay, right, that's good. And then what's happened to Stoke side first?
I don't know.
No,
Is my answer.
I'm,
I don't know.
I'm guessing they folded, haven't they? They must have done.
They must have done. Yeah, they're in the league, but yes,
They
yeah,
haven't played. They
they
haven't played any
must
games.
have.
They got everything on their
Um,
stats is 0, so they must have folded.
I don't deal with all the communications from the league, and that's Ash, but Ash would report that back to me. But unless there's something drastic happen where their pitch might be unplayable,
But even
I
there, they would
can't
have
see
played a couple
it.
of games,
Yeah,
away games by now, wouldn't they?
you'd
Yeah.
think so. Yeah. So
Let's assume they folded, which is a shame if they have folded, but it does
yeah,
very much look like they have. Right. So in terms of the club, obviously you said you've got the football side, you've got the business side. You also do quite a bit for charity as well, don't you?
we do. Yeah, we've had a couple of big events, and we just had our sort of biggest yet, our summer event, which originally got postponed because of the British
Whether,
summer.
yeah.
And we got hit by rain on the second one, but yeah, we partner with certain charities of our choice, and I think it was a great one in the summer. It was the Southwest Children's Hospice, which is a fantastic charity, and we raised a lot of money from local businesses, from people on the day, and yeah, we had a sort of like a summer sort of fair, where there was a load of things going on, stalls, games for children's and stuff like that. So that was a really successful day, and it's not just about showing the club in a good light and being for social media. We genuinely want to help people where we can make a difference and raise money. And
Oh yeah, I mean, I
we,
don't think anybody's going to knock that for a second. I mean, you raised just over 784 quid
yeah,
for them,
yeah.
and no one's going to knock that, are they? Let's be honest,
No, and I know we started the podcast with sort of mental health, and I know it's not quite mental health, but we're looking at that. We've got another charity event coming up in, I think it's Sunday the 26th of November, and this is the Alzheimer's in football, and we've got a 8-hour game of football, so it's going to be a constant game of football of lasting 8 hours, and looking for
Right.
sort of sponsors and donations on that. But we sort of mind, we plumped for Alzheimer's in football this time, but I know
Yeah.
sort of mental health, so a big one for us as well, and we'll be doing some up in the sort of in the future, probably 2024 as well for that. But yeah, we
I
want to be
personally think that promoting mental health can't be done enough.
yeah,
Do you know what I
yeah,
mean? Like
absolutely,
everybody has mental health, and
yeah.
everybody at some point suffers from mental health. And I expect you saw it. Did you see the Norwich City video this week?
I did, yeah,
Jesus
yeah,
Christ! I watched it, and I gotta be honest, I was crying watching it. It's just
yeah.
it was such a powerful message, a simple message, but such a powerful message. And
Well, yeah.
I think it's got the recognition that it deserves, that video.
Yeah, I've seen it doing the rounds in a lot of football league clubs, amateur clubs, professional clubs sharing it, and rightly so. And
Yeah.
it's, I said, I mean, we had two choices. We were all doing the Alzheimer's in football and mental health, and it didn't really sort of matter too much which way around it went. But we decided on the Alzheimer's this time, and then the future event will be. But it's going to be a rolling program for the club. We class ourselves as a community club, and what we have on our ambitions going forward of getting bigger, it's all going to be based around the community things with women's football, with children's football of all ages, reserve teams. So the veterans walking football, this is what we want to do and be involved in the community as well. And charities, like I said, it's a thing where we're all affected by, or know somebody is affected by all these different charities, and they're all worthy causes to support, and
Definitely, mate. Definitely, yeah.
yeah, we're happy to do it.
Like I said, no one's going to knock that at all. So, well done for doing all that. It's a big credit to the club.
Yeah,
Back to the football, just to finish. Last weekend you drew 3-3. This weekend you are away at Made Forever Reserves. That's a 2:00 kickoff at Southey Playing Fields, which is in Kingswood. How are you feeling ahead of the game?
Feeling confident. We've got we got one or two knocks and one or two away this week on holiday, so it sort of gives us a missing a couple of players. But that's the whole point of having a strong side and I think a strong squad, and I think we have a strong squad. So I'm confident going into that game because it's for the reasons we just said earlier. Like I know we could have a second half like we did last week and not play so well, even with those good players. But it's overcoming that, and if we play sort of like a good strong 6 or 7 out of 10, what we're capable of, I think we're a match for any side in our league and sort of divisions above us. So I'm always confident, and I think we're just sort of turning that corner. We started the first couple of games with a lot of players on holiday, and our goalie was away, and we've sort of dropped points. And I think it was a bit of a blow because I think the lads were thinking we're just gonna probably go out and win most games and remain undefeated the whole season, and it's a little bit of a blow when it doesn't start. But you can see the bit of belief getting back into the lads and just as young players again, overcoming the setbacks and starting again. In the last two performances we've had, I felt we should have probably picked up maximum points really, but we haven't. But
that is football for you, isn't it? That is football for you.
Absolutely, and I'm really confident going into Saturday. But like I said, like I am most games of sometimes I'd be a bit stupid, but that's the belief I do have in the players.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with having belief in your own team, is there, John? Let's be honest, you know.
Nah.
So, that's good, mate. I'm really looking forward to it on Saturday. We'll meet up Saturday and have a chat as well. And yeah, really looking forward to it. So if anybody wants to come along, 2:00 kickoff, subby playing fields. I think they've only got the one main pitch down there, haven't they? So you can't really go wrong down there. But yeah, no, I've really enjoyed our chat, John. Thanks for joining me on the podcast. It's really much appreciated. And we will catch up again soon, yeah?
Yeah, that sounds great.
And as I say every time I do a podcast, if thanks to everybody who downloads it, really appreciate it. If anybody's listening and they would like to get their club on and have a chat about their club, you're more than welcome. Just drop me a message on Twitter. And wherever you're off to this weekend for a game.